Hi, I'm Jana Meyer. I'm the chair of the 18th Legislative District of the Clark County Republican Party. And today I'm going to interview Gary Perman, who's running for City Council in Camas, Ward number 1. Thanks for joining me today, Gary.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Great. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I've born and raised in Camas, been 50 years out of 60 years living in Camas. So I've got to see a lot of growth. You know, there were maybe 3,000 people in Camas at the time. Now there's 26,000. And have seen the mill go from 3,000 employees down to 150. And so I've seen a lot of change. But um, uh, raised my two boys there. So after college and such, we moved back to Camas to raise our kids, and one in Camas High School, one in a homeschooling program at the time, and involved with St. Matthew's Lutheran Church in Camas, or in Washougal, I'm sorry. And get involved with community events, was involved with Rotary as well. And then I work out of Camas as in my own business. So I've been doing that for 25 years as well too. So it's been fun. It's a nice place to live.
It is, and it's your hometown.
Yes.
That's fantastic. All right, well, why don't you talk about why you decided to run for City Council?
Well, being living here for a while, I've seen a lot of growth and I've seen a lot of change, and some of that change is not very positive. So I've seen companies come and go, and large industries come and go, and we had a tax base with a school that we could be proud of because we had a huge tax base to pay for that. And as companies continue to grow, we're seeing less of that tax base. So who gets to get pay for it? So I see my taxes going up, and you have all the impact fees from all over, not just the school district, but your service fees, your water, sewer. Everybody's hit with it, and a lot of people can't afford the cost of living in Camas anymore. I see church members that are 90 years old that have to move because of the issues that they just can't afford to live there anymore. And then I have family that has moved away as well too, because they can't afford $15 an hour jobs. So I've seen that impact into the Camas area, and so I'd like to make a difference in bringing some of my skills to Camas for that.
Great. Well, on that note, why don't you tell me about the key issues and challenges that you want to tackle? Now, you touched on a few of them, but maybe you can give us some specifics, maybe some proposals on how you'd like to actually make a difference and change some of those things for the better.
One of the issues that a lot of people have faced is that there's not a lot of communication between the leadership of Camas and the citizens. And when I was growing up, you were communicated in a lot of different ways. You had newsletters, you had direct mail pieces, things like that. Nowadays, if you have a problem, a concern as a citizen, you have to go to a website and they direct you to engage.com. So if you're an older person, a lot of people aren't that familiar with the internet, and so they struggle with that. Then on the engage.com, there's a lot of surveys and that type of thing. It doesn't help you. So in the old days, you used to call the chief of police or a fire chief or whatever your issue was, and they'd be there to help you, or a council member. Nowadays, they direct you to come to a council meeting, and so that's a real issue because if you go to a council meeting, you have to prepare for that. Now it's on Zoom. You don't even get to go to a council meeting anymore, and so you prepare and you show up to state your case, and they tell you have 3 minutes to do your case. And then at 2.5 minutes in, they cut you off and say you got 30 seconds left. So you've completely lost your train of thought. And then they say thank you, and that's it. They don't say we're going to fix your problem, we're going to refer it to a department head, nothing. So it's the most dehumanizing thing I've ever seen. And then if you want, you can stick around to the end of the meeting for another 3 minutes. So you get 6 minutes total to state your case. And doing something in public like that, already you're nervous to talk to people, and you have to sit in front of a council and in the public to do that. So that has to change. And they used to have like ward meetings and things like that. There were simple things where council people could reach out and meet some of these folks. So they've hired actually a director of communications, which I disagree with, because these positions are consultants is the answer to everything nowadays. So they pay $20,000 a month for a consultant to come in. And
And it
So
kind
that
of centralizes things, right? It
it does.
kind of cuts you
Mhm.
off. Yeah.
Yes, because they don't want you to have direct access to the people, and especially the people that are elected to do the job. So that's one of the issues that I'd really like to change. And then the infrastructure. My business is I'm an executive recruiter in the electric vehicle industry. So we do it's alternative fuel. So electric vehicle and hydrogen and some of the newer things coming out. So my clients run from, say, $20 million to $700 million in gross income. So I'm dealing with executives all the time. And so Camas has a real problem with attracting companies right now. In the 80s, the mayor at the time did a great job of bringing high-tech companies into Camas. And now you've seen a lot of those high-tech companies leave, and it's nobody's fault. It's not COVID's or anything like that. It's just the economy. And so if you bring in one group of companies and the economy starts going down within that particular industry, the whole industry base, the whole tax base is affected by that.
So it sounds like
So
we need some diversification.
we do.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit more of that now. We've got the Fisher Investment that's in Camas, and that's a service industry. And I think we need more service industry and more light industrial to come into the area, even medical or distribution companies, that type of thing, just instead of just industrial or high tech.
Right.
So those are a couple areas where, and with my background, I think that would be important because I know how to talk to executives. And I think we need to do it in an aspect that where it's Camas focused instead of depending on the CRDC and economic groups that are dealing with an entire county.
What is CRDC?
Columbia River Economic Development Council.
Okay.
So, and they're focused a lot on Ridgefield, but a lot of people just sit around and wait for companies to come to them. And I think we should model after the state of Texas, where they actually targeted companies and then they got on a plane and went to those companies and recruited them to move to Texas. And I've seen a huge amount of that going on with even the auto manufacturing in California, pulled them out. And I think we could do the same thing in Camas to bring companies back in. We have plenty of land to build and to occupy in Camas, and that would bring higher paying jobs, which basically solves most of the problems in Camas. You know, people complain about cost of living and affordable housing. They complain about infrastructure issues, and that would end the taxes. So that if more affordable jobs were there, higher paying jobs, that
yeah.
would solve a lot of the issues in Camas.
Great.
Mhm.
All right. Well, you've given us a lot of great information on your background and the key issues you'd like to tackle, you know, if elected. Where can voters go to learn even more about you and your platform?
I've got a website, votegaryperman.com, and info@votegaryperman.com is my email address, so they can contact me either way there. I think I've got a Facebook presence as well too that they can hit.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Well,
for
thank
joining
you.
me
I
today,
appreciate your
Gary.
time.
All right.